Breast Cancer Prevention Month. So at first I thought, well, maybe that's why they chose me to speak this month. But then when Tori told me the topic was about endurance, I was like, I'm still and we're running the organization for 23 years, I guess. My life falls into that topic. So hopefully we can have a little bit of fun, and I'll tell you a little bit about my life, my story, and keep abreast, and how we got forward career today. So yeah, my name is Shaney, and as I said, I'm one of the founders of the Keep Abreast Foundation. So yeah, since I was little, you can see me there, I had a strong inner voice and an intuition that guided me through my life, making decisions. My dad would always tell me that I had a strong constitution, like whatever that means, but I think it was his way of just telling me that I was hard-headed. My single mom, she worked a full-time job, and we saw our dad on the weekends, which left my brother and I a lot of time to just explore, be wild, make mistakes, and learn from them. We had to teach ourselves from a young age how to make our own decisions and how to really listen to our inner voice. You definitely learn a lot when you have very little parental supervision. But I embrace these moments in my life to really cement what I wanted out of life, and I went for it. My dad was always big into fashion. His style was extra. He would wear these custom-made Western shirts that had embroidered buffaloes, horses, eagles all over them. These are actually his shirts that I saved. And I remember him telling me the story about going to get these shirts made, and he went to a woman's warehouse in Kansas City at the brand called Salamander. It doesn't exist anymore. And him telling me about this experience. It was this loft, it was this warehouse, there was sewing machines everywhere, fabric, and I was just like, I want to even her. I want to be just like that. And I knew with enough heart and determination, I could really make that happen. So yeah, from that moment, and always my whole life, I loved clothes. I loved shopping for them. I loved making them. I would go to thrift stores and buy like old t-shirts and create new things out of that. My mom taught me how to sew, so I was always making things out of old things. And I'm not making Halloween costumes. Happy Halloween. I would to my brother, like, he looked so pissed. I love making Halloween costumes, and, these ones were pretty basic, but then I started getting better at sewing as the years went by. And I was really privileged to grow up in a family that was very creative, but that also supported my unconventional dreams of being in fashion. It's so funny. We have my show too. So I would dream of moving to New York, which ended up bringing me to applying for fashion school. I never had a good relationship with school up until that point, but as you can see, I was voted best dressed. So it kind of like, I wasn't where I'll be honest. So I've not been at school. I never really got good grades, but I loved art classes. I loved ASB. I loved anything that was having to do creative. And when I went to fashion school in Los Angeles, I had a long commute. And I paid for school myself, and I worked multiple jobs to make that happen. So driving 2.5 hours back and forth to school every day was definitely something I had to endure. And with that final goal in mind, that's, becoming a fashion designer and working as a creative in the industry. I had a long career in the San Diego skateboard industry. So growing up in San Diego, there's not many fashion brands here. So I worked in skateboarding, and I was a fan of skateboarding animes growing up. So I worked for a lot of different brands, like this one is Altamont. I worked for DC Shoes. I worked for Etnies. I worked for Baker Skateboards. So many brands. But I even fulfilled that dream of moving to New York, and I worked for Tommy Hilfiger when I was there for a while. So that was really, really fun time of my life. And I just was that type of person, and I never, ever, ever wanted to do what anyone else was doing. At every point in my career, my DIY and natural way of doing everything like was and still is how I live my life every day. Like doing it yourself, help rocking those. And when you think of like DIY, it's like punk rock life, it's not something you would normally identify with adult CrossFit organization. But there was really no other way we could have done keep abreast. We had to really embody that punk rock vibe and break from what you would normally think of a non-CrossFit organization to have that impact that we've been able to have.
But yeah, I don't know, this is so cute.
It all started very suddenly. This was back in 2000 when my community of artists and action sports friends started to rally with emotion and passion around something we had learned. One of our friends in our community was diagnosed with breast cancer. Her name was Margaret Tilden. This is her here. Thanks to be sad. Thanks for her. Mara was 30 at the time, and being like 20-something friends, like we were walked. No one at that time in our lives were talking to us about our breast health. We didn't know that breast cancer was something that could happen to young women. We always thought it was something that was like for older women or for peak ribbons or for 3-day walks. So back then, we had no GoFundMe, we had like no social media, we had no way to actually like gather together to raise funds for someone who was enduring something super, super tragic. So we got together, we wanted to help, and then this is, actually these photos are just here. There used to be a building called the Reincarnation Project. And at that time, I was putting on these big art and fashion exhibitions for the ASR trade show in San Diego. And it was an amazing opportunity to bring together all of our creative friends who are skiers, snowboarders, filmmakers, journalists. So we decided that it's like me and Mona back there in the beginning. So we decided to do a show, right? That's what we knew how to do. That's how we knew that we needed help from Margaret. But we wanted the show to be really different. And we wanted it also to start a conversation about breast health for a young generation. So I thought about Frida Kahlo. We all know Frida Kahlo here. She's been a major inspiration in my life in many ways, which she's endured her strength and her creativity. I thought about her torso cast and how she had painted this while she was lying in bed. She had a lot of accidents and she had a lot of broken bones in her body. And she just created so much beauty out of tragedy. So with that, took that idea and I figured out how to make one of these chest casts. And then I got all my friends together, I casted them, and we had participate them, and we showcased our first ever Keep Abreast exhibition 23 years ago in a pop-up tent at Lake Tahoe during the Sports and Music Festival. I look beautiful, but sadly, we lost Margaret. She was pregnant at the time of her diagnosis, and back then being treated was more serious. So she didn't have traditional treatment, and she passed away only 2 weeks after her baby was born. So everything we do is still in honor of her and, fighters everywhere. When Keep Abreast originally started, it was just one show to help one person raise money for Margaret. We didn't know what we had started with just that one show, and we definitely had no idea that we would still be here and what we would be enduring through all these 23 years of counting. The show is something that no one had ever seen before. We got a lot of press, and it went against your typical pink ribbon status quo. We spoke very loudly with a radically different angle and a conversation that people could identify with, our peers, in their own way. It wasn't long before we heard from people like Kevin Lyman from the Man's Work Tour and the team of Roxy and Quicksilver. Suddenly, our message of breast cast exhibitions became a vehicle for athletes and musicians to support something that was not really accessible to them at that time. We were talking about something that they wanted to talk about. They wanted to share their stories, and through Keep Abreast, they were able to do that. And in return, we had the opportunity to travel all over the world and do rice cast exhibitions with Roxy, as well as travel every summer on the Vans Warped Tour, which was the most fun summers of our lives. So I'm going to show you a little piece of how that goes down.
Get this call, it's like, hey, Shaney and Joe, this is Kevin Lyman from Vans Warped Tour. How you doing? I read about what you're doing. I like it. I'd like you to come out on the Vans Warped Tour. Can you come into my office and have a meeting? And I'm like, okay. Little San Diego girl, you know, and that was the beginning of a long relationship. You know, I couldn't be more grateful for him just making that random phone call one day.
I started working with Keep Abreast 15 years ago. Before that it was Modart, and I've known for Shaney for a long time. I mean, all the way back to working in the snow up in Lake Tahoe. I think it was when I first met her, when she was working with Boarding for Breast Cancer. And it's been a great relationship and an important relationship.
In the early days of Keep Abreast, I was the one out here every single summer. And we started with just one little 10 by 10 tent. And I would haul that tent out here, set it up, and have all my information. And I would be by myself with volunteers every day. And it was so worth it and the best summers of my entire life. And since then, we've been able to grow. For many years, we were inside the girls' garage, which was a huge space, and we were able to invite young people in all day long. We had signings and acoustic sets, and now this summer, we're out here with Keep Abreast and Non-Toxic Revolution and our pop-up experience, and it's really, I don't think you really understand. These days are so grueling and so long, but so rewarding.
I grew up in Claremont, California, which was kind of a hippie town. It was called Berkeley South. And then as I got into punk rock, I realized that punkers and hippies weren't very far off. They maybe spoke in different ways, dressed differently, smelled differently. We all wanted to change the world in some ways, and there was ways to change it.
Nonprofits are a huge part of what we do out here at the Vans Warped Tour. I believe strongly, and I believe that everyone around us does, that kids learn when they're having fun. Specifically, Keep Abreast has been such an anchor for so long for us in that space. We're just really proud of our relationship together and how we've kind of been able to help each other grow over the years. I think it's just a huge part of kind of what the soul of this tour is all about. It is about growing a community and building better adults and start educating them while they're having fun and having a good time. And I think, you know, bodes well for everyone.
If it wasn't for Kevin Lyman and the Vans Warped Tour, Keep Abreast probably wouldn't exist. He gave us an opportunity to create this grassroots experience, and we are out here in a DIY way, just like the band guys. We were one of the first nonprofits out here. We'll continue to be out here forever as long as this tour is going. Yeah.
I'm feeling right pretty fun stuff. And I love the manifesto that you have a Creative Mornings about being in person. And that was one of the reasons why we were able to make such an impact at this tour, is because we were in person and we met thousands and thousands of young people every day. And it was because of that, like, little girl that you saw in the very beginning. You know, I always listened to my intuition and trusted my gut and just did things different in my own way. And Keep Abreast, we've always been just like a punk rock band or just like a skateboard brand, going out on tour and sharing our message with everyone. And I just shaped Keep Abreast just like my own life. You know, if I was a different type of person, honestly, Keep Abreast would be a different type of organization. Like, I had no experience running a nonprofit, but that friend that has run through my entire life of being this DIY mentality really is a part of Keep Abreast. And we always wanted to do things what we can do. You know, it's like when we first did these shows, it's like we couldn't raise money, millions of dollars for research, but I knew that I could make an impact in my little world of friends in San Diego. I knew that we could talk about breast health. I knew that we could learn how to do our self-checks, and I knew that we could support each other. So starting small and doing what you know you can do is always, you know, what I tell people when they ask, like, how do you start a nonprofit? What do I do? It's like, start small and do what you know. And these are school education pillows that we use at our events. So suddenly, Keep Abreast became part of a world of traditional nonprofits, and I'm sure you know all the ones that exist out there. But our message has been unique, and our mission is to reduce breast cancer risk and its impact globally through art, education, prevention, and action. So it wasn't long after the Warped Tour that we launched our latest I Love Boobies bracelets. This was back in 2010, and it was with the goal of increasing access to breast health education and awareness for everyone. And the bracelets have our website and inside, so anyone who had a bracelet had access to learning more about Keep Abreast and learning more about their breast health, and also how they could support others they love who were going through a diagnosis. But soon after, the controversy happened, and this was back in 2011, and we started getting news that teenagers were being suspended from school all across the country for wearing our I Love bracelets. I guess back then, people really were offended by the word boobies. And I'm super happy to see that ACLU here today, because they were a big part of the I Love Boobies and the court case that we had when 2 young girls were suspended from school for wearing their I Love Boobies bracelets on Breast Cancer Awareness Day at their school. And this was like something I could never imagine, right? It's like, make a little bracelet, say I love boobies. It's a normal thing for me. And we started getting a lot of hate mail. And it was an incredible time of like, what is going on? What are we doing? Why am I getting so much hate for something that I thought was a good thing? I was getting like personal DMs in my Facebook at that time, so many emails, people telling me personally at Keep Abreast that, we were ruining the youth of America and we were sexualizing breast cancer, that we had this like quick get rich marketing scheme. We're not rich, so that didn't work. But yeah, it was a really challenging time. And these are the 2 girls, and this is our attorney, Mary Catherine Roper. So the 2 girls were represented by the ACLU. They had heard about this case, and they said, hey, this is a freedom of speech issue. And so they took the case all the way to the Supreme Court, which means in the lower courts, they won. But the school that they went to in Pennsylvania still kept appealing the case. So by the time it got all the way to the Supreme Court didn't hear the case, and they just upheld the decision of the lower case. So everyone in the nation had the right to wear an I Love Boobies bracelets as free speech. So here we are, I Love Boobies bracelets, and then one of the main mantras for Keep Abreast is breast health for all. We believe that everyone deserves access to education and information about their bodies and about their breast health. With Keep Abreast, a big component of our work is access and in everything that we do. We have Keep Abreast is a global organization, so we're based here in California, but we also do work in Europe, in Mexico, and in Africa. And we have had breast cancer exhibitions in many cities around the world. Tokyo, Berlin, Paris, Prague, New York, Mexico City, Tahiti. We just had one in Tahiti this summer. So yeah, being a part of Roxy and doing these exhibitions is a way to spread this information about breast health and really show that every single body is beautiful. Our Keep Abreast app, hopefully you guys will all download it. It's a pretty amazing app. It's available in 3 languages and has, as of yesterday, Camille just updated that as of yesterday, we have 44,500 users of the app globally. It's a self-check tool and we'll send you an automatic reminder once a month and show you how to check your breasts. And it has these really cool new graphics we updated about our work this year. And you can pick up, let's check yourself card and then add that little card at our little booth out there. So yeah, 23 years. It's like exhausting. There's nothing that I'm talking about. Which just ties back to this topic of endurance, right? Like, I mean, how have you done anything in your life virtually? What is up for you? I'm pretty excited, and I'm super proud that we've been able to grow, keep abreast, and change and evolve over the last 23 years. I'm super proud that in creating it with the inevitable push and pull of the world and the nonprofit world, that I've been able to stay true to my intuition and to my creativity. And I hope that maybe this inspires you to tap into your intuition or continue tapping into your intuition as a guide to your life and to what you do next, because it will take you amazing places. And the thing with Keep Abreast that I am the most proud of in all of these years is that we started a conversation. We started a conversation with a generation about breast health, about checking themselves, about early detection that had never, ever before been talked to about this before. So my hope is that we have a future with less diagnosis of breast cancer that are in the late stage of early detection really, really, really saves lives. So I hope that with our message and the way that we've been able to get it out there in a new way to a new generation will help save lives for people whose parents, didn't have this information. All right, good. Let me stop there. That was scary. Any gender, all genders can get breast cancer, and it's really important information for partners to know, because a lot of the time it's a partner who will detect a lot. Because maybe there's many quarantine bitters in your bar. All right, so in a lot of ways, and for a lot of us, talking about our boobs is still taboo, but we're working hard to change that and spread the message of early detection and breast cancer prevention. You all cannot wait until you're in your 40s to start to think about breast cancer. Just like when we first started Keep Abreast, Margaret was in her 30s when she was diagnosed,
I'm sure many of us in the room know someone who's been diagnosed with breast cancer and know someone who's young. And if we can save lives with knowledge of early detection, that's the way to go about it. So Keep Abreast has been here since 2000, and we're still here. I still have as much fun doing and started. I loved making the casts. I loved coming to events. I love like lifting boxes and bins and hanging things, and the whole thing is just so fun, and we get to make a difference with the work that we do. And all of Keep Abreast, our OG supporters now, they all come to our events with their teenagers who are now wearing Keep Abreast bracelets. And Keep Abreast, we really just want to be like your favorite band. We want you to come to our events. We want you to bring your friends and your family. We want you to be stoked when we release something new. We want you to share with your friends. And this is our exhibition that we have right now. So come to our show, just like a band. Come to our show. We want to be a part of your life. This show is up right now at Fall Brigade in North Park, not too far from here. So go there, have a beer. They created a special peak there for Keep Abreast called Check Yourself. Check out the exhibition. The caps are also available for online auctions, so they're available to be bid on right now. So thank you guys, thank you everyone for having me today. It's really good.